Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. Got a great friend on here with me today. He is the master of automation. He helps entrepreneurs automate their outbound marketing. He's a professional speaker, advanced mindset techniques, that is, and really just a rockin' marketing guy that everybody needs to know. Brian Kelly, thanks for joining me here today.
How are you doing, brother Scott?
Doing well. So you are just the rock star of automation when it comes to outbound marketing for businesses. How'd you even get into that?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. In my former life, I was a software engineer working for major defense firms here in Southern California. And I took onto it early in college when it was a brand new thing. I'm an old guy, as you know, Scott, and computers weren't very prevalent back then. But there was this new course that came out that was about writing software. And I'm like, wow, that sounds interesting. And I got really into it and just loved it. And once I realized how you could write code that would repeatedly give you the results that are correct, I thought, wow, what power this can give us. And then as time went on and things changed and technology grew, now you have all these amazing services online that allow you to perform automated tasks without even needing to know how to write code. And it still helps that you have the background and knowledge of how code works, but you don't have to know it. And that just made it easier. And I just began automating every business aspect of my business, every system that I possibly could. My wife would say, anytime you get anything new, like a new project, you just go straight in and automate the bejeebers out of it. And I'm like, yeah, she's right. I do. I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, in today's day and age, the one thing we all have the same amount of is time, and so when you can automate and do some of those things, it makes so much sense. I mean, we even had our little bobble as we were getting ready for the show here today, because technology is sometimes a little fickle along the way. So what's the effect, the time savings and or the revenue growth that can happen when you start to automate like you do?
Yeah, there's actually three things. There's time savings, there's money savings, and there is how you are perceived by others. And so with that, I'd say time savings is the obvious one, right? Everyone knows that if you automate something, that it's performing tasks on your behalf. The other thing it does, though, is it does it precisely without error. So there's less human error induced into any activity that goes through this automation system, because once you build it, you test it to make sure there's no errors. And once that's done, the likelihood of errors occurring due to your part are highly unlikely. Like you just mentioned coming on today, those had nothing to do with what you did wrong, Scott. It was just that there's glitches now and then. That's okay. The other thing was savings. I quantified this. For me personally, what I'm doing with my live show and what automations I built for it, I am saving over $230,000 a year by using my automation system. Because if I had done this with human beings, I would have had to pay them. And I'm talking VA rates, not employee rates. So a substantial savings once it's built. It's like a car. You need to change the oil. You need to invest into maintaining your vehicle for it to last long. Well, in this case, you need to invest not a ton of money, but you need to invest something upfront monetarily, plus put in the blood, sweat, and tears to build the automations and test them. Once it's in place, though, it's phenomenal. And now I find myself making refinements and tweaks primarily to improve things, not because things are broken, but, I found a better way to do it. And everything I do with replication in mind. What I'm doing, can I just hand this to someone else, like a client, and say, here you go, you have it, it's ready to go, and you can just model what I'm doing, and we can teach them how to do the finer points. But many and then the quality of it increases the quality of your system, of your business, of what people perceive you as, because the communication is spot on all the time. I have other things going on, like posts that automatically go to different social media platforms, complete with a headshot of the guest and a link to the show and things like that. And so I get this comment over and over, Scott, it's like, you are so organized. And I laugh because if you could see the top of my desk right now, uh, it's the perception of super high quality and high professionalism. And when you are perceived that way, then people are much more likely to do business with you without you saying a word.
Yeah, absolutely. My son is actually a coder, and well, we were talking one day, and I said, "What do you do all day?" He says, "I try to break our software." And I said, "Well, why do you do that?" He said, "So then I can fix it." Okay, it's like, I guess that's cool.
I love it.
No, so I get it completely, but how does it? What do you think from a additional sales side, or is it just the peace of mind that that your outbound marketing is working for you all the time? Can you quantify the additional revenue, or is it just a peace of mind thing, or a combination of both?
It's I can't quantify the revenue like with a number, but I can just assuredly tell you that it increases your sales because you have something that's working in the background while you're doing other things. You're basically you're giving yourself the ability to multitask without you being the one multitasking. And yeah, so I was just talking with my team earlier, just right before this, and we were talking about automations, and I was showing her the results of her efforts in the automation that I created. So we saw the number of leads coming through because of her efforts, and the automation takes over. Right after this, I have a master class. It's going to be in an hour and a half, a little less than that. And my system is going to go and remind everybody that it's coming up with the link and do the proper communications to make sure that they know where to go without any glitches or anything. And they'll show up and just we'll have a great class coming up. But yeah, and so I combine systems like computing systems and human beings. But the thing is you can greatly reduce the need for human beings. And I'm not meaning this in any way mean or bad. So just to be clear, I love humans. I love humans. It's not to get rid of humans. It is to make my business run more efficiently. Here's what I say. When you implement automation, let's say you have a team right now.
Right.
Now you implement automations. Now you've just offloaded your team of those tasks. Now think about what other tasks you can give them that would be more fruitful for your business, that really truly require human interaction, like responding to posts as a human, not a bot, reaching out, making appointments on sales, doing things that are, creating memes for posts, things that, some AI machines, artificial intelligence machines claim they can do all this stuff. They're still not there yet. But there's a lot of places where we do need human intervention. Now you can just shift over and you're not just saving money. Now you're making more money because your automation's running. Plus they're doing additional tasks that you previously didn't have them working on.
What do you, is there an estimation of cost in what all these various automations run, or can you give relative numbers?
Yeah, so I use a very comprehensive suite of automation tools. I use one called Peak Connector, Zapier. There's more, quite a few more, not quite a few more. There's several more that I use on occasion. I actually quantified that one, Scott, and it's right around $5,000 per year. And so $5,000 per year to save over 230,000 any day, all day.
Sounds like a pretty good ROI. So
Yes.
do you use your tips and tricks and everything? Do you do for others?
Yes, actually, that's a great question, man. We did not rehearse any of this, just so people know. Great question. That's because you're a phenomenal dude, Scott.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I have a high ticket program right now, and that is where it's all centered around conducting and creating and improving live video shows. So interview style shows, kind of like what we're doing right now, Scott. And I've taken it to another level with all the automation processes in the background. There's a lot that goes into it. In fact, the masterclass is coming up here. I'm not pitching and I'm not selling anything on the masterclass, just to be very clear. I mean, literally selling nothing on it. In an hour and 20 minutes, I actually unveil all the details behind that, what is necessary to conduct a successful live video show. The result of doing my live video show, you don't make money directly from the show. Let's just get that out of the way. You don't,
Right.
or a podcast, unless you're a Joe Rogan or somebody of high stature, right? But
Right.
it's really to build your platform more than anything else. And that means getting greater exposure for you and your guests that come on. And as a result of doing that, I struck 2 deals that were worth over $1 million each. This was right before COVID. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You know what happened to those, but they did happen. And that was only because I had this presence everywhere doing the live show that expressed quality, professionalism, everything we talked about earlier. So yeah, it's been a godsend. And so high ticket, meaning we take care of the graphics to make your show shine. We take care of it, recommending the proper hardware. We don't buy the hardware for you. You need to get that, but we take care of the automation. We carry all that for you for the first full year. So you don't have to pay another dime. We manage it all for you. You don't have to set it up. When we're done, you can decide after a year, you can decide to say, I don't want your services anymore. And then we just say, okay, here's all your accounts. And you just need to take over the payment for them. And they are yours and set up, and you'll have them forever. Or you can continue, and we'll continue to automate or run all the setup and automation and tweaking for you. So yeah, I'm really passionate about it. I love automation. I love technology. I love doing live video like we're doing right now. Put it all together, and it's just, I call it juice for your company.
Well, it's interesting because yesterday's show featured somebody I've known her entire life, my daughter, and she is a CrossFit instructor, but somebody at their CrossFit gym just had a double mastectomy, and there's a group called Barbells for Boobs, and she's doing a fundraiser. So we did the entire show yesterday on supporting this organization because they're supporting women getting back to the CrossFit gyms to kind of get back into a more normalized life, going forward after that diagnosis. So, I mean, it's amazing what you can do with a show. And I love what you're doing with the automation around it, because there's nothing, I mean, the way the whole thing yesterday came up was my daughter said, Dad, can you send this out to some of your friends? I said, let's do better. Let's do a show on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's cool that you can take worthy causes and raise awareness and do a whole bunch of things like that with, the automations and things that you're doing. We should probably talk more a little bit about Scott Schilling Speaks and what we're doing here.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because you didn't even ask me about it, which is true to your integrity and character, but I have a different look than you're used to, both on top and bottom. So I do have hair. It does grow. I'm doing this in support of my wife, who has breast cancer. And this happened to my mom many years ago, and I did the same thing back then. Unfortunately, my mom did not make it. 16-year battle. My wife will make it. Caught it soon enough, so I'm not worried about that in the slightest. And just she has to go through the chemo and the horrible stuff, and she's done with the chemo. And next is surgery and other things that'll happen. But she's done with the worst part of it. And then I told her just a couple weeks ago, so I got rid of this to support her. The moment I shaved her head, she asked me, she said, it's coming out, I'm ready. So I shaved hers, and then I said, all right, get out of that chair, it's my turn. I got in the chair and she shaved mine. And then I decided just a few weeks ago to start letting this grow. And I told her, I'm going to let this grow until you are deemed cancer-free officially. So that's why the crazy look here. It'll be normal back when she's better. But the cool thing you just brought up about the live show is we connected with a gentleman who has figured out how to formulate CBD oil in a way, and I'm going to say it because if it's said verbally, people won't come after us, that he has found the cure to cancer.
Wow.
He's found it. There are many cures, I'm convinced, but he's found one, and I ordered it. We both take it. I always did this. I did this with my mom. Whatever I have, whoever I love, taking something to make them better. If it's not going to harm me, I want to make sure it won't. Let's have a healthy person do a test and see how it works. Well, I now know I'll never have cancer because of this CBD oil that this man formulates. It's a long story, but the whole point of it is because of what he's doing and the lives he's saving. The stories he told me, Scott, were amazing. And he's the most humble guy you'll ever meet. I said, Chris, I got to have you on my show. We need to spread this far and wide. So we got him in quicker because I'm booked for forever. And I just said, let's open up a new day and let's have you on. So we did that. So just like you're talking about.
Well, I'd love to have them on the show too, because it's really about raising awareness. Somebody said, how many shows do you do? I said, I do 5 a week. And they go, oh my God. And I said, well, number one, they're fun. I mean, I love being able to talk to friends like you and raise awareness of really good things. And, you know, it, you have conversations and it's amazing what you find out. And you find the ways that you can be of service to people going forward. So anyway, I'd love to talk to them and have them on the show as well for the same reasons.
I will definitely make that happen. I'll make that connection happen because I'm a firm believer in saving lives if they can be saved. And here's that I learned so much about the cannabis plant. And just to be clear, there is no that THC that makes you high in any of the formulations. There's something called Rick Simpson oil that's very popular for cancer patients, and that is something that makes you incredibly high. Unbelievably, I've talked to people about it, and Chris formulates his CBD with a THC. It's called Delta 8, if I get it right. That is not drug. It doesn't give you the high, and he said it's many, many, many times more powerful than the brand of THC that gets you high as far as its effectiveness on cancer. So, and other ailments. It's unbelievable. I could go all day, and I won't, but we'll get you hooked up. His name's Chris Thistle. I just want that out there so people can see. And it's thistlethera.com, THISTLE, and then thera.com. And he always says, don't buy the CBD that shows on his website. Contact him and he's right, because he will formulate it specific to your issues, your ailments. It's far more than just cancer that he takes care of. He said that's just there because people wanted to have a front to see, and some will buy just the generic, but do not do that. He wants you to connect with him directly so he can find out what your ailments are, and he will custom craft. He does research, unbelievable research. Israel is way ahead. They're like the forefront of CBD oil research, and he is lockstep with them. He's probably the most advanced in the US when it comes to knowing what to put together for different ailments. It's awesome.
So not only the automation guy, but the CBD oil guy.
That's Chris, not me. Yeah,
No, I know. I know. I'm kidding. But again, this is the value of the shows, right? I mean, it's why I love speaking on stage or being at events, because I was training a group yesterday, and I said, always be the first to arrive and the last to leave, and sit in the green room in between, and and talk to everybody, because you never know what you can pick up and learn. That's why this is so valuable. That's why I love the automations and the things that you're doing, because you're getting the word out in such a way that is such a service to so many people. I mean, I think that's what's really cool. How many shows do you have in the can now? How many have you done? And
it's just over 160. I only do one a week due to the amount of work that goes into it, even with the automation. If I did 2 a week, it would be a stretch. If I did it consistently, I have done 2 a week, but not on a regular basis. I think I had 3 weeks that I did 2 a week, and I was like, man, I'm pooped. It's just to do that and to run your business and everything else that went into it, it just became too much. There are things that just flat out cannot be automated. You still need to put your touch on it to make it a high quality result. But yeah, what you're saying is the thing that folks that have not started a live show, I would highly recommend, number one, you make it interview style like Scott is doing here. And the reason for that is the guests that you have on your show, you'll find these intangibles that come with doing this live show. And that is the incredible, very deep and lifelong relationships that you build with these people. And most of the people that come on my show, Scott, I have never met until 30 minutes prior to us going live. And then from that day, that moment forward, we're like best friends forever. It's unbelievably awesome. I love people. I love who I interview. They're amazing entrepreneurs. And so the connections that I make with them, then the connections you make with their tribe, and the things I have gifts coming in my mail all the time, books and other things from my guests that I don't ask for. I didn't do it for that, but there's all these wonderful fringe benefits that you can't quantify them. But all I can say is if you're not doing a live interview show and you have a business, when would now be the time to do that, right?
Exactly. So it's funny you say that. A couple of weeks ago on Tuesday, I asked my guests the question, what's the greatest challenge you're facing through this pandemic, with your business? And he shared what it was. And Thursday, I said, so what's been your greatest success and what problem are you really solving right now very effectively? And it was exactly what the guy Tuesday needed. And put the two together, and all of a sudden they're putting a deal together, and they said, well, would you be okay if we give you a little bit of it? And I said, well, yeah, but that wasn't the reason I introduced you. He had a problem, you have a solution, you guys need to know each other. So again, I think it's the same thing. And quite frankly, for me, we're on the Be Connected broadcast network, and it facilitates the ability. And again, I'm not suggesting anybody needs to do 5 days a week. I do it because I like it. I have fun with it. And I'm somewhat creating a model. It's interesting. I talked to somebody the other day. He said, how many shows do you have in the can? I said, I don't know, like about 70 now. And he goes, man, 70 weeks. I said, oh no, this is in about 2.5 months. So I get what you're saying. It does go from there. What would it cost somebody, do you think, to, start a show or to change their presence in this way? Like just on the intro, the early stages of it.
That's
You
a
don't
good
have to
question.
spend a whole bunch of money, do you?
No, here's what I say. I mean, there are basic tools and resources that I would recommend people get to get started that do not cost a lot of money. But what I always say is do the best you can with the resources you currently have, period. So do the best, get the best you can and do the highest quality. It won't be the best right out of the chute unless you're already doing very, very well financially and you have spare money, and that's fine. If you do, then go all the way. If you're just looking to get something started and you have a little bit of spare cash to throw into it, maybe from your marketing budget, because this is truly marketing, if you were to ask me, and just do the best you can with what you've got. I am still to this day, Scott, I'm always upgrading my system, my equipment. This is my second live interview ever with my brand new Sony a6000 DSLR camera. I used a Logitech C930E, a couple $100 for like a decade, and it's still on my monitor as my backup, but it's a workhorse and it's good enough. But I wanted to do YouTube videos on this as well, static ones, giving tips and things. And I wanted something better than a Logitech. So it doesn't automatically adjust with brightness and all the other things, little things I've learned over time, but just do what you can with the resources you have. I would start out with StreamYard as one of the go-tos for doing any live broadcast. It is one of the best as far as video quality. I would recommend, StreamYard. That's where I would start, because from there you can stream to multiple platforms and you can pick the plan they offer that gives you what you want or need. I have the absolute top one because I've been doing this a long time. And so I can stream live to 8 platforms simultaneously using that plan. And I found a way to even take that and magnify it even more. But 8 is a lot. Facebook, how many Facebook pages and groups do you have admin access to? I don't know. But YouTube, there's now Twitter Live. They finally made the official switch from Periscope to Twitter Live. Twitch, LinkedIn Live. So that one, you want to get some shows in the can, as Scott would say, and then apply to become a live streamer on LinkedIn. That can take some time to get approved, but just do what you can with the resources you have. And I have a philosophy, I call it carpet bomb marketing. And that if for people that are unaware, think of those old World War II clips and the big old bombers flying over, and then all these things start dropping out of its belly, those bombs. And I liken that to like a rabbit as it's walking along and dropping its little poops. And so what it does is as the bombs fall, they spread out. And what happens when they land, they saturate the area, the target, with that ammunition. So I say saturate the marketplace with your message using the carpet bomb marketing approach. Hit every platform you possibly can. I mean, that it costs nothing extra to stream to Facebook, nothing to stream to LinkedIn, nothing to stream to Twitter. If it's available and you can hit it, then do it. That's my philosophy. And that's just one. Repurpose it into audio podcasts only when you're done. I'm on 25 podcast platforms, 25, not 5, 25. if it's there, hit it. So that's just this scratching the surface, but I don't know if that answered your question, because I don't know how to quantify the minimum, but that would be something I just have a chat with somebody, and I wouldn't even charge for that. Just say, hey, what do you have now? What are you looking to do? Here's what I'd recommend. Piece of cake.
Well, I think it's, again, I think sometimes people think that it's much harder than it really is. And it was funny because we were having a conversation with somebody. This woman said, "Well, I don't like the way I look on camera." And I said, "Can I share something with you?" And she said, "Sure." I said, "That's the way you look." And she was like, "Well, that wasn't very nice." I said, "What did I say?" This is the reality. We are who we are. We look how we look. You can be as professional as you want. I mean, I've been involved in $800,000 infomercials where you got multiple people taking that shiny spot off of something, right? With a little bit of mascara or stuff, makeup and different things. Anyway, not to get caught in that, but it's like, get the information out. Do what makes your heart sing. Be happy in what you're doing. So, how do people get a hold of you so they can learn more from your genius?
I think one of the best ways to just hit me up on Facebook. My user ID is Brian Carl Kelly, Carl, and you'll see a picture with hair. Just so you know, won't look like I look right now. And
wait, you'll look like this guy right here.
There you go, a little bit more like that. That was a younger day too, as well. But yep.
What are you using that picture from 2003? What?
Who is that guy? Who is that guy?
Nobody else ever does that on the internet.
But yeah, to your point of that woman, definitely just, what, it's about authenticity. It doesn't, I know we're all very concerned with the way we look, with the way others perceive us. Am I scratching my nose right now? And all those things that go on. Don't worry about that stuff. Be yourself, be authentic. That will be the thing that people remember more than what you look like, by far. And once you get past that, it's a mindset thing. But once you get past that, and the only way to get past that is to just start. That's it. It's going to be uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I forgot who said that. I think it was Laurel Langmeyer. I just don't remember the original. But the more you're uncomfortable during the day, the more you're growing, and the more you're going to get closer to hitting the results you want and that you deserve.
I did I was the guest on a podcast in Spain the other day, and the woman's English was fairly broken and everything. And she said, "Can you understand me?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, sometimes I have to repeat and I have to edit." I said, "You're doing great." And it really is. I totally agree with you. It's be authentic, be who you are. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Some people try to be so professional and there's nothing wrong with being professional, but I mean, just no need to be hoity-toity about it all.
Right. You'll become more professional literally by osmosis, just by repetition. I call it like being a race car driver. It's all about seat time in the seat, doing it, racing, being on camera. I'm still learning to this day. I've been doing live since almost 10 years now, Scott. Back before Periscope even existed. That was the first mainstream live platform on social media. And then later came Facebook Live and then LinkedIn and everybody else. This was back when Livestream and Ustream were the only two live streaming platforms that I was aware of 10 years ago or so, and did a live show with a partner. And we did that for a couple of years, and we just would embed the live on our website. And that was the only way we could get it out. Just get going, just do it. We had horrible camera. I mean, nothing looked good back then. Nothing. I mean, the video quality was horrible. The internet speed was horrible back then. The camera quality, everything, nothing was really pristine. And the thing is, though, the audio, that made it through very clearly. Audio is the most important aspect. And with video, just do the best you can with what you've got. I'll say it like 30,000 times, because the best is all you can do right now. But don't let perfection keep you from starting.
Totally agree. My speaking mentor said, if you really want to become a good speaker, you know what you need to do? I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Speak."
Yep.
So speak everywhere, anywhere you can, whether it's free, whether you get paid, whether you do it, just do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
a lot of things. Well,
I-
hard to believe we've blown through our time already. Goes really quick, but Brian, I want to thank you for being here today. We'll have to do this again. Spend a little.
Absolutely. Anytime and all the time with my buddy Scott Schilling. You're the best, my man. You're the best.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you all for joining us on Scott Schilling Speaks. We'll see you again next week, exact same time. See you then. God bless.